Call this regular council meeting, June 26, 2018, to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Dries,
Here.
Halter,
Here.
Hermes, here. Lee,
Here.
Walther, here. Moore.
Here. Okay. We have a prayer by Maria.
Lord, we ask you to send your spirit of servanthood upon all of us gathered here this evening to do your work for the benefit of all in our community. We ask you to bless our elected and appointed officials so they may deliberate with wisdom and act with courage. Bless the members of our community who come here to speak before council so they state their cause with honesty and humility. Lord, we ask you to bless us all, and that everything we do here tonight will move you to welcome us one day into your kingdom as good and faithful servants. We ask this in the name of our brother Jesus. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we've got the council minutes of May 22nd, regular council meeting, and the June 12th council work session. Any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, minutes stand approved. Okay, this is the time for citizens to comment on matters before council. When recognized, please come forward with the lectern. Give your name and address and then state your comments or questions. This is not intended to be a dialogue with council or village staff. If you have questions, the questions will be recorded and referred to the manager's office for response. This will allow time for thoughtful and thorough consideration to be given to each question. Council meetings are recorded for ease of transcription. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Speakers may not yield any or all of their time to other speakers. Anybody want to address council?
Does that mean you're not going to answer me, or I have to wait for something to come in the mail?
Correct. We won't have a dialogue here. To talk to, best to talk to the manager.
What I was wondering was, does anybody play golf lately?
Yesterday, but not here.
I know we're playing golf here. Okay. So I was playing golf last week and needed to go to the restroom and noticed that the brand new restrooms we put up were locked. Went over to try to find the outhouse and it was gone. So I was wondering what's the deal with the bathrooms as far as where the location is and the availability to use them. My next question was, you might want to look at the greens. The cutting process is pretty pathetic and very disappointing for as good as and nice as the greens should look. They're cutting way too short and almost going down into the dirt. So I would just suggest you could possibly take a look at them and maybe do some recommendations to whoever's cutting them. The other thing I wanted to know is how many people walked in the Memorial Day or the Pioneer Day parade? Anybody? Nobody? Nobody did the race?
Well,
Nobody did the race? Okay. And my next and last question is, was anybody in the Memorial Day parade? Anybody here from council? Right. Nobody was here for that either. Okay, great, thank you.
I was.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Okay.
Patricia Bender.
You ready, Pat?
I'm signing her in the 36879. Okay, I've already communicated. My name is Pat Ann, 132 Chalmers Lane, one of the historic 4-family buildings.
I've owned this property since 1976, which is a total of 42 years. Much of that time was in rentals where I was a landlord. I've also managed property for the Village of Greenhills, some other historic properties. Never in all those years have we had issues with property line disturbances until Mr. Eipert purchased the property that he has neglected. He bought it from the village, which was neglected in terms of not being painted as consistent with the rest of the building according to the party hall agreement. He has owned this unit for about 4 years now, and he has finally been cited by NIC to get the building painted. Because of his hostility of the inspection, he has approached me. I've reported this to the police already in a very hostile manner, insisting that he needed to access the back of his house, this unit, from going through my private gate and taking down my private liner so that he could bring a piece of equipment in there. This is insane because there is a split rail fence that goes along the rear of the property, which certainly gives him access. I had written to the village earlier about putting gates in there, and I spoke with Mr. Castor this afternoon about the crisis that has become with Mr. Eipert. This afternoon, his wife decided that she could take hedge clippers and cut down all of my landscaping that goes all the way down the property line. So now we've got a civil issue with Mr. Eipert. We've got the slumlord issue with Mr. Eipert. We've got an issue with the village who has landlocked this property. I sent information to Mr. Forbes hoping that he would research this so that we could come up with a solution tonight. Since Mr. Eipert happens to be sitting here, I do plan on filing a complaint with the police chief with respect to this. This community is built for people to cooperate with one another. It is built with access to rear yards on all properties. The village, for whatever reason, extended that fence along Palma Park in the 70s, which did not create a problem until Mr. Eipert came along. So now we've got an issue to deal with, clearing out the evasive honeysuckle bushes that are lining the fence. We have Mr. Eipert, who has bent one of my metal posts for my liner, so my yard is no longer safe for my dog to be out in because Mr. Eipert likes to do kind of petty things, and it's getting old. So I want to know, since I've already communicated with Mr. Forbes, I've communicated with Mr. Castor and with Ms. Cobb.
Your time is up, Ms. Anglon. Thank you.
Mr. Moore.
Have your seat. Have your seat. Have your seat.
I would like to have an answer tonight.
Have your seat. Thank you. Okay, anybody else?
Sure. Do I have to sign this?
Yes,
Yes,
please. I am David Eichert. I am the proud owner of 30 Chalmers Lane. I've owned the property for approximately 4 years. The last 2 years, I've put more money in that property than any property owner there, than windows, doors, whatever. So I don't know where she's coming at. So Mrs. Antoine there actually cited me, got me cited for painting my building. And actually in her own party wall agreement that her and her husband agreed upon, says that I should have access into her yard to get to the back of my property. And that's actually what I want to execute, which I had said to her Thursday. I said, hey, I just need to get back of your yard so I can paint my property, which you filed a complaint on me for. At that time, she got a little hostile, like, hey, whoa, we're going to do the split rail fence, which the next day I did call the village, and they did say if I wanted to go at my cost to put a gate in the back at my cost. Well, the party wall agreement says I don't need to do that. And at that time, Ms. Antoine asked me if I wanted to change the party wall agreement. The party wall agreement's been going, like she said, for 40 years. All I want to do is paint the back of my property, what she wants me to do. The other issue with the fence is there's a fence that runs down the yard. My wife was over today cutting the grass. There's a bunch of, I don't know what you want to call it, foliage over the fence. The only thing she was doing is cutting back the foliage on the fence, which we believe is our property, so that's all we want to do is maintain our yard. And also, Miss Antoine, she got a little upset with me too. I think it says in the part of our agreements, which you all have, you read this, it is all about maintenance. I think cutting my yard is, maintaining my yard is maintenance. Actually expressed to her that I would like to cut my grass, take my mower through her yard to cut my grass. That is maintenance all the time, and that's all I want to do. All I want to do is just have a nice, clean place. Miss Antoine, of course, she just wants to complain. So I just want to let you know where my side of the story is. I do not really want to put up a gate in the back. There's never one been there. I don't have no access to it. I can't take a truck there or anything else. So I just told her, I want to paint my building, go on with life, and everything will be fine. Everything was fine until she wanted to file a complaint against me. Now she has, a problem with me actually accessing the yard in the part of wall agreement. So please read the part of wall agreement to its entirety. You will definitely see that I am entitled to go through her yard. You guys have a great night.
Okay, thanks. Okay, anybody else? All right. Reports of village officials. Municipal Manager Yvonne Kovac.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a number of items I want to fill you in on. We had a pre-construction meeting for the Greater Cincinnati Waterworks main project. We'll be putting in a total of 19 new fire hydrants, and they're expecting that project to start after Labor Day. And then it will definitely go into the next year as well. Excited to get that started. I also talked to the contractor about giving us a quote. If you recall, when we did the water main project on the other side of the town, we were able to get some significant amounts of paving done at a pretty good price through that same vendor at the time. And it's actually the same vendor. So hopefully we can get as good a quote to fully do some of the streets that we'll be working on right now through this project. Also want to let you know that we will be doing a subpoena program again with Rita, and that will be on September 11th. That's held right here in our village. So we'll get word out on that. That's the one, actually, Rita does all the filings for that. Letters go directly to citizens regarding tax payments.
Can you overview that just a little bit so people listening?
Sure. Okay, that's, Rita will send letters directly to, subpoenas, actually, to any taxpayers who owe money. And will be held in this room on September 11th. So I guess you would say it's by invitation only. But it's to, work out tax payment plans and whatever the resident or taxpayer is going to need to get their taxes paid.
Is it also for people who didn't file, or is it just purely for ones that have filed and they know that there's a payment
Amount owed, yes, I believe so. And it's probably, I will get clarification on the rules, but there's probably already a delinquency would be my guess to be part of that program. One of our projects for this year is crack sealing on the Malloy's lot. We were able to get actually priced lower than the previous time, so that will happen probably also in September. It's going to be a big month. Actually, the restrooms are open now. I know that came up a little bit earlier. We're having some trouble with the contractor finishing their punch list, but everything's in operation. Now the chief's back, we want to work up an actual pattern for opening and closing, which was an issue. We were having it open for, we had a couple of rentals, and that was it at that point in time, but it should be open every day now. If it's not, I'll have to find out why, but it should be open now on a regular basis. In addition to the other paving that I've already talked about, again, we will have the paving and the crack sealing done on the 6 streets. I think I went through this with you maybe at the work session, but I don't recall if I had the date that'll start sometime after the 4th of July. So that'll be getting going fairly soon. Also want to let you know, I gave you copies of 2 flyers. We're trying to get information out at the pool. The first one is heavy into like the rules of the pool, that emphasis. The second one goes a little bit more into other things they can do in the community, but we're just trying to get as much information to people who are coming and going through the pool. So we'll try to do another one in July and another one for August. And I wanted you to see that. We have had some unusual issue, really only one issue this year with clothing, so we actually now have some posters on proper swim attire. If you go in, you'll see those posted there, but that seems to be helping that situation. And at this point, the pool's doing really well, and I think it's a combination of the weather. I mean, it's been wonderful swimming weather.
Except for today.
But we have another big weekend coming up. That and the addition of a credit card machine has really proven to be an amazing help to us down there. So that's what I have at this point in time. Thank you.
Comments or questions? Law Director Jeff Forbes.
Thank you, Mayor. I did prepare a written report, which I think was distributed to council. So I won't belabor that. If you have questions, I can answer them. Although there's one additional item that I learned about after I had already sent that out. We've talked a bit in the past about traffic light cameras and the status of different laws and changes in laws on that. Just as a recap, the state adopted a law back in 2014 that extremely limited municipalities' ability to use those. Basically said you had to have an officer physically present if you were going to do it. And the city of Toledo sued on that. And the court ultimately found that to be unconstitutional and said that's a violation of home rule and you can't do that. The state appealed that. While that appeal was pending, the state also passed a new law, which we've talked about here, that essentially says, okay, if we can't do it that way, our new way is we'll deduct local government funds from you and some other restrictions. Interesting thing is that the court that found the first one to be unconstitutional held the state of Ohio in contempt of court for passing the new law because they said it was essentially trying to get around their ruling. That contempt order just went to the Ohio Supreme Court, and the Ohio Supreme Court reversed and said you can't hold them in contempt for passing the new law when that law has not yet been found to be unconstitutional. So I presume that that new law will, if not Toledo, someone will follow through with that. So we're still waiting to see, but I think the early indication, at least from the court trying to hold them in contempt, is that I don't think they have much, there's not much love for the new version either. So that's just a little update on the court system on that case, and then the other items that I shared.
So to be continued.
As with most of these home rule challenges, yes, to be continued.
Okay. Clerk of Council, Captain Ives.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The June 2018 Community Calendar and Resolution Numbers 2018 16F, 17F, 18 S&S, and 19F were posted as required. And if there are no questions, that would conclude my report.
Okay. Hearing none, Chief of Police Neil Furtelman.
Thank you, Mayor.
All tan.
This past Saturday, Greenhills police officers participated with the Pioneer Day events. The event started at 8 a.m. with the Pioneer Day run. There were 65 runners that we protected. They ran on the east side of the village, and the run was followed by the parade. And we had a number of officers out there to make sure that it all safely passed through the village. We continued to make some drug arrests in the F section after an additional search warrant at a similar location. On June 9th, we once again served a search warrant at a residence that was the scene of earlier drug arrests on March the 8th. In this instance, we located heroin and drug paraphernalia inside the residence. One of the residents was charged. There is an outstanding warrant on another one who currently remains at large. We had a conviction yesterday in Hamilton County Municipal Court on a 64-year-old resident who was arrested in April and charged with multiple instances of criminal damaging. These were the instances where cars were being marked. The suspect was convicted yesterday of the charges and was ordered to pay restitution to those whose vehicles were damaged or faced jail time. We're very excited about an event that's coming up later on this summer on July 21st. That's our bike rodeo. We encourage anyone that might be listening to sign up for the second annual bike rodeo. It'll be held from 10 to 2 on Saturday, July 21st at the middle school. It's a free bike safety course for children aged 4 through 12. One of the questions that we had recently was, is it going to be for the whole time? No, you can come during that event. We're lining up some extra events besides the safety course itself, and that includes a potential helicopter fly-in. We'll have a police K-9 from Forest Park who will be here, and some other special surprises. All the youngsters that come will receive free ice cream, and we will have, again, 2 grand prizes, a brand new boys bike and a brand new girls bike. We will also be having our Citizens Police Academy alumni and some church volunteers from Messiah Lutheran who will be manning the grills, and we will have grilled hot dogs, drink, and other refreshments for those that are attending. We appreciate anyone who is interested in coming to please sign up so we know who will be attending and how many. We'll also have some free bike helmets that we received from a grant, and those forms are on our website or available in our lobby. We're participating in a mission with the Forest Park Police Department called Nutrition is the Mission. And that involves free food that's available to any youngster under the age of 18 in our community. And every weekday between 12:50 and 1:20, the nutrition bus will be stationed at the community building. So any kids that want a free lunch should stop by, and they will be there for the next 12 weeks. National Night Out returns on August the 7th. We'll be at the picnic shelter next to Malloy's on the Green at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, August the 7th. Again, we'll have some free food. We'll have the grill back out again, and that will be in conjunction with our manager's Park Talk. So we hope everyone would attend, and we've also secured the services of our fire department. They'll be on hand conducting a fire safety demonstration. So it should be a good event. Maybe the grill will cooperate, not get out of control, but we'll have the fire department there if it does. We do have some transitions. Today was the last day for Officer Michael Willis, who left us to accept a position at the Fairfield Township Police Department. We wish him well in his new endeavor. As a result, we posted last month a police officer vacancy, and we've received almost 3 dozen responses to that, and we're setting up interviews for a new officer position. Also, Officer Eric Tricase was appointed to the Honor Guard of the Hamilton County Police Association, which serves all of Hamilton County law enforcement during ceremonial events. He's especially fitted for that as he is a veteran of the United States Marine Corps. He won't require much training. We send along our thanks to the Sharing Worlds Learning Center located at 1 Esmond Street in the rear of the shopping center. Officers Patton and Moore visited the school on April 26th to interact with the children there, and in return the children sent us all some personalized thank yous, and the owners of the facility brought up some snacks for the officers. During the preceding month, the department investigated 3 accidents. That's down from 7 in the same time in 2017. 3 crimes, which is down from 6 from 2017, and 209 other incidents. We had a total of 436 contacts with citizens. 226 of those were dispatched or received by telephone, and 210 were self-initiated by officers. The department provided assistance to the public in 100 instances. We assisted other agencies 22 times. We made 23 criminal arrests and 29 traffic arrests. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Comments or questions? All right.
I'm not sure about that comment about the grill concern.
Okay. I have the municipal court distribution summary from Mayor's Court. The county received $97.50. $2,680.50 went to the state of Ohio, and $12,583.62 went to the Village of Greenhills. for a grand total of $15,361.62. And that's all I have. All right. Committee reports, intergovernmental affairs, laws and rules. Jack Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Due to a scheduling issue that I had, our meeting yesterday was unfortunately canceled, but we will take up the issues before us, in particular House Bill 478 that was signed by the governor concerning small cell facilities located in the public rights of way. That'll be on Monday, July 23rd at 9 a.m.
Okay. All right. Community development, Jeff Holder.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have a community development meeting this Thursday, 5:15 p.m. We'll be talking about the priority and the planning on the signage for the entryways, and also how we're going to go about promoting the village and its NHL designation. I think it's a good time for us, since the earlier retreat in the beginning of the year, to set some priorities and try to get those done by the end of the year as far as developing the community, promoting the community, and working with the different groups that have stepped forth. I think at Lutheran Church offered some help and stuff, so we want to make sure we get back to them on what could be done there. I don't know, this really doesn't fit under my umbrella totally, but I will let you know that I had 2 residents that played golf on Memorial Day that expressed the same concerns about the greens. So this seems to be something we should probably look into, since it's coming from a couple of different people. Want to make sure that they're playable, and my neighbor, good guy, was real concerned that they were slow enough that he didn't really want to go back to the course, so we got to address that. And I'll make a comment about the parade. The whole idea and concept, I feel like I do a lot and I'm just speaking for myself personally. I think I've tried to support the parades as much as possible. I did recent signage to go on some of the vehicles. I've done banners. I've done a number of other things to help the parade. I invited both daughters and grandkids to come over, so I had 4 grandkids watching and collecting candy and stuff. So for me, I still wrestle with the idea that there's value to this community for me to sit in a car and wave. I think it's good from a mayor and municipal manager standpoint, so people know your face and interact with you. I feel like it's more me campaigning than helping the community. So unless somebody has some ideas on why that's an important thing for me to do versus the signage or whatever else I'm trying to do to help the parade, I'm willing to listen to it. So I'm all for the parade and support it wholeheartedly. That concludes my report.
Okay. Do we have anything for service and streets?
Well, I also may have an item on the agenda tonight. Did you mention that? Is it open?
You can.
Yeah, and I could talk about it at the time, but it's municipal road fund money that I told you, I believe, last month that we've received $80,000 to go towards the 3rd phase of Winton Road. So they forwarded the necessary legislation and agreement. It's on the agenda for tonight.
Okay. All right. Safety, Melanie Hermes.
We met today at 5:15 prior to this meeting. Some of the new business we talked about is we've heard a lot about, or different people have noticed coyotes in the neighborhood, and I wanted to discuss possibly getting links on our website and getting some information out about what to do when you do see a coyote. I don't in any way want the village to be deemed as experts, but at least to be able to direct people to the experts concerning what to do if you see a coyote. Just some tactics to keep in mind to be safe, for you to be safe, and for your small animals to be safe as well. One of the things that we did discuss is possibly getting information towards the Park District as they hopefully know a little bit more about the wildlife and probably have more records of some kind of sightings. We also talked about, later in the agenda, we'll have a ordinance about special police, and I will bring that up. It'll be a reading for the first time today, so we did talk about that. At a future date, we will be talking about the promotional procedure of the police department. There's some language in it regarding sergeants, and we wanted to include corporals in that language as well, and that will come at a later meeting. We just mentioned that today's agenda also has a resolution about a police levy. So there was just some talk about the need for the police levy, and then if a committee were to be formed, reaching out for the Citizens Police Academy. So if anyone's interested on being on a committee, we don't have the contact person yet, but please keep your ear open for people to contact you or to contact the chief of police if you have any ideas. I know he's very thankful for that. We talked the fire trucks. We have 2 for sale, or the fire department has 2 fire trucks for sale. So if anyone's interested in buying either a rescue truck or a fire engine, please contact Chief Spaeth. We did talk a little bit about Narcan. I know just kind of the trends with the heroin overdose and epidemic, what kind of trends we're seeing, and what we're seeing is maybe that, if I misquote, let me know, that we might be going out on fewer, but it takes more doses than it did take before. So the frequency has gone down a little bit, but it ends up taking more doses of the Narcan to counteract the heroin overdoses. Also, we did talk, the fire department has applied for a Fire Act grant in the amount of $175,000 for SCBA gear, and it's still pending, so we're waiting on the results of that. And we did discuss the summer events that are coming up that the chief has already mentioned. The bike rodeo, Saturday, July 21st from 10 to 2. I feel it's important to reiterate those times. And then also National Night Out is on Tuesday, August 7th at 6 p.m. Keep your eye out for more information, and if you're interested, please contact us. On a side note, I was in the parade on Saturday. I do it more just so people know they can approach me, and because my daughter was in the parade as well, she wanted to be in it, so that was kind of nice. So I do think it's a fun community event, and we do have a lot of people that are standing around. I always make a point of giving out dog biscuits, so since they either enjoy the parade or really hate parades, depending on what kind of dog you have. So it was a fun event, but it's just to bring support. So I'm glad it goes on.
So there was no kids eating dog biscuits, I hope, right?
I don't know. I did offer a dog biscuit. I took it up to the owners. I try and give it to the owner instead of the dog, because you just want to respect dog owners and their relationships. But there was a gentleman that also had a really big snake along the route, and they do not want dog biscuits. I did ask, but yes. And as I tell my daughter, not a pet. So
next year you'll have to bring a mouse.
I did not ask what the snake would.
Somebody brought a snake to the parade?
He was in front of his property, and he was out with his 2 dogs, his 2 kids.
And his snake.
And his snake.
That big around.
So,
Okay, all right.
Not a pet. And in the Hermes household, we will not have a snake for a pet.
Okay.
Oh, our next meeting is on August 28th at 5:15 p.m. And that is it.
All right. Recreation Cable TV, Maria Walter.
I attended the meeting at the Community Programming Board Regional Council of Governments on June the 13th. Everybody that was appointed to that was present. No one was missing. We had all kinds of discussions. Chip introduced the newest member of the board because he was not, presented before. So everybody got to know Dan. We had also the report of the state audit from the years 2016 and 2017. They have been completed and no issues and no problems were identified. She reported that since our new sponsorship coordinator started in August 2017, she has brought in $8,075 in sponsors revenue. We have also the staff report, and that was really refreshing to see that they had a program for students, middle school and high school, and they had 20 students participating, 8 from the middle school group and 12 in the high school group. And the program will run continuous until June the 28th. So that was really nice to know that their youth are interested in the technology things and TV and so forth. She also presented the production report of the quarter and noted that we produced 8 also graduations this year and 5 plus the Oaks student recognition ceremony on a paid basis. There was a resolution to the floor, number 2018-02, and it was a resolution authorizing the executive director to enter into an agreement with Video Technologies for eVideo Technologies for the provision of video playback equipment. And it reported this time that the purpose of this purchase to replace the Master Control Video Server, which is 14 years plus old, and then past life expectancy. And we, together with this motion, they added 2 years to the warranty. So instead of being 3 years, it would be 5 years. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, September the 12th at 7 p.m. I also had meetings with the staff for the Harvest Fest coming up in October. We had X amount of applications sent out for booths for sales. We also have secured a band group for playing, and we were discussing other items. We have a monthly kind of meeting so we can keep a handle on the situation as it comes along. We also have a community day at the pool coming up, and that is the 30th, so this coming Saturday. And please, it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a lot of fun. The theme is pirates, so it's going to be a competition about cannonballs, who makes the biggest splash, and there's going to be a treasure hunt, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So it's going to be going on from 12 to 4, and there will be burgers and hot dogs also to be enjoyed. We also have the community day is a membership day that is coming up, and that is at the end of the summer, and we will put that also on the paper on the Greenhills Journal. And that's for the membership. It's kind of recognition for the membership of the pool. So please stand by for some more festivities there. Would like to make a couple of remarks for things happening within the community. On July the 13th, from 6 to 8, there's going to be Cheeseburgers in Paradise at the American Legion. There is a pre-selling of tickets for that. And there's, you can contact any members of the Legion or the Auxiliary. We have also one last remark I would like to make. I would like for everybody to have a very safe and happy 4th of July. Above all, do remember that freedom is not free. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria. Moving on, Finance and Audit, Glenn Drees.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Finance and Audit Committee met on June 8th. And there was also a budget hearing on June 12th. At the appropriate time, I will have one ordinance from the Finance Committee meeting. I've already reported to you that the last day of employment for Matt Sanders as our finance director for the village was on June 15th. He has resigned his position, and we have an interim finance director, and that person will serve until a full-time replacement is found. The proposed police levy will be a 3.5 mil levy that will generate $184,749 annually, and the cost for a $100,000 valuation home would be $122.50 per year. The timeline for the budget will be for our council to review that budget and potentially pass it at the work session, and it has to be sent to the county by July 20th. The committee reviewed the prepared budget by the administration and recommends its approval. Transfers from the general fund in 2019 are as follows: $189,000 for non-voted debt, $113,000 voted for the swimming pool, $28,000 for the golf course, $35,000 for spoils field bleachers, and $413,000 for the police fund. We reviewed the debt payments. The next payment due for village debt is December 1st, 2018. The voted debt due at that time is $41,162.50. The non-voted debt payments are $41,916.86 and $170,883.75. That concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All right, unfinished business and general orders. Ordinance number 2018-04, LNR, amending section 303-06 of the Greenhills Codified Ordinance regarding the definition of an abandoned junk vehicle. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is second reading of ordinance 2018-04 LNR, amending the section 303.06 of the Greenhills Codified Ordinances regarding the definition of an abandoned junk motor vehicle, pardon me.
And did we read it in its entirety the last time?
No.
No.
No. Whereas section 303.06 of the Greenhills Codified Ordinances defines an abandoned junk motor vehicle, and whereas Ohio Revised Code 4513.63 reflects updated fair market values and age parameters for junk vehicles, and the village council desires to have village code to be consistent with Ohio Revised Code. Now therefore be ordained by the council of the village of Greenhills, Ohio, section 1, that this section 303.06 of the village of Greenhills Codified Ordinances is hereby amended as indicated below. 303.06 abandoned junk motor vehicles defined as in section 303.08 and 303.9. Abandoned junk motor vehicle means any vehicle left on private property for more than 72 hours without the permission of the person having the right to possession of the property, or on a public street or other property open to the public for purposes of vehicular travel or parking, or upon within the right-of-way of any road or street for 72 consecutive hours or longer without notification to the police, the chief of police, of the reasons for leaving the vehicle in such place, and that meets any combination of three of the following 5 requirements. A, 3 years or years old or older. B, extensively damaged, such as damage including but not limited to any of the following: a broken window or windshield, missing wheels, tires, motor or transmission. C, apparently inoperable or defective or missing parts, or unable to move under its own power, or in such condition generally as to be unfit for further use as a conveyance, or in in a dangerous condition. D, having a fair market value of $1,500 or less. Or E, does not display a valid license plate or displays an expired license plate or validation sticker. Section 2, that this ordinance shall be effective from and after the earliest period allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move for the passage of this ordinance.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Dries,
Aye.
Halter,
Aye.
Hermes,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Walther,
Aye.
Okay, ordinance number 2018-04 L&R passes. New business, ordinance 2018-05-S, amending section 153.07A of the Village of Greenhills Codified Ordinances regarding special police. Mrs. Hermes.
Yes.
This will be a first reading?
First reading by title only.
Okay.
Ordinance number 2018-05-S, amending section 153.07A of the Greenhouse Codified Ordinances regarding special police. The gist of it is, we currently in section 153.07, special police, have the words part-time in front of special police. We have gotten rid of that part-time position currently, but we'd like to keep it for all, for any special police. So we will read it in its entirety for passage at our next meeting.
Okay. All right, ordinance 2018-06-L&R, ordinance enacting and adopting a supplement to the Code of Ordinances for the Village of Green Hills. Mr. Lee, first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is first reading of ordinance 2018-06 L&R, an ordinance enacting and adopting a supplement to the Code of Ordinances for the Village of Green Hills, Ohio. This is primarily just a housekeeping matter that we have to take up with the American Legal Publishing Corporation regarding our Code of Ordinances.
Okay. All right, resolution 2018-20-F, resolution declaring it necessary to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation, police operating. Mr. Dries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am sorry that this is so long. Resolution 2018-20F, resolution declaring it necessary to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation, police operating, whereas the Village Council desires to continue to provide the residents of Green Hills with necessary government services, and whereas in order to further the providing and maintaining motor vehicles, communications, other equipment, buildings, and sites for such buildings used directly in the operation of a police department for the payment of salaries of permanent or part-time police, communications, or administrative personnel to operate the same, including the payment of any employer contributions required by for such personnel under Section 145.48 or 742.33 of the revised code, or for the payment of other related costs for the village, it is necessary to add an additional levy. And whereas the amounts of taxes which may be raised within the 10 mil limitation will be insufficient to provide an adequate amount for the necessary requirements of the Village of Green Hills, Hamilton County, Ohio, and whereas the Hamilton County Auditor has certified to the Council, the Village Council, that the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by a tax levy, by a levy of tax at a rate not exceeding 3.5 mils for each $100,000 market valuation equals $122.50 based on the total estimated tax valuation of the village of $52,785,510. And whereas the Village Council desires to submit the 3.5 mil additional levy to the electors of the village at the general election to be held November 6, 2018. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Green Hills, Hamilton County, Ohio, Section 1, that is necessary to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the benefit of the Village of Green Hills, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 5705.19J. For the primary purpose and intent of such funding is for providing and maintaining motor vehicles, communication, other equipment, buildings, and sites for such buildings used directly in the operation of a police department, for the payment of salaries of permanent or part-time police, communications, or administrative personnel to operate the same, including the payment of any employer contributions required for such personnel under Section 145.48 or 742.33 of the revised code, or for the payment of other related costs for the village as authorized by Ohio Revised Code, Section 5705.19J of the Ohio Revised Code within the municipality at not rate exceeding 3.5 mils for each $1 valuation, which amounts to $122.50 for each $100 of valuation for a continuing period of time, and which levy is an additional levy of 3.5 mils. Section 2. That the question of an additional levy be submitted to the electors of said Village of Greenhills at November election to be held at the usual voting places within said Village of Greenhills on the 6th day of May, November 2018. Section 3. That said tax be placed upon the tax list of the current year after the February settlement, not succeeding the election, if a majority of the electors voting thereon vote in favor thereof. Section 4. That the clerk of the Village of Greenhills be and is hereby directed to certify a copy of this resolution to the Board of Elections, Hamilton County, Ohio, and notify Board of Elections to cause notice of election on the question of levying said tax to be given as required by law. Section 5, that is found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and related to the adoption of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements of Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 6, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Halter,
Aye.
Hermes,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Walther,
Aye.
Dries,
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2018-20-F passes. Next resolution, we need a speed reader, like one of those TV commercial people that can put this out. The next resolution is 2018-21-SNS, a resolution authorizing the agreement between the Village of Greenhills and the Board of Hamilton County Commissioners relative to the improvement of Winton Road. And
Yeah,
who's reading that?
now I've got it.
Okay.
Resolution 2018-21-SNS, a resolution authorizing an agreement between the Village of Greenhills and the Board of Hamilton County Commissioners relative to the improvement of Winton Road. Whereas Section 153.61 of the Ohio Revised Code provides for the agreements between any county and any municipal corporation for the joint construction of public improvement, and whereas Section 4504.04 of the Ohio Revised Code provides for the application by the municipal corporation and the allocation and encumbering of by the Board of County Commissioners of funds available under Section 4504.05 of the Ohio Revised Code. And whereas Winton Road is part of the comprehensive map of the roadways of the county in accordance with Section 4504.03 of the Ohio Revised Code and is in need of improvement, and whereas the Village of Greenhills pursuant with Section 4504.04 Revised Code of Ohio has made application in writing to the Board of County Commissioners for funds available under Section 4504.05 Revised Code of Ohio. These funds are to cover a portion of the cost of improving Winton Road, and whereas the Village of Greenhills has filed with the county engineer a copy of the preliminary plans and estimate of costs for such improvement, and whereas the county commissioner has approved such preliminary plans and estimates of cost and found the proposed improvement is conducive to the orderly and efficient flow of traffic within and through the county, and so advised the Board of County Commissioners. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners has allocated from the funds available for such purpose as provided under Section 4504.05B1 of the Ohio Revised Code for a portion of the cost of such improvement. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners shall certify to the county auditor the amount of any funds allocated to the Village of Greenhills, final and detailed plans or statements of work to be done shall be submitted to the county engineer for approval. Upon approval by the engineer, the Board of County Commissioners shall have encumbered the monies necessary to fulfill the awarded contractual or other obligations for the approved project cost. And whereas upon notification by the Village of Greenhills that the work on the approved project has commenced, the county auditor shall draw a warrant for such encumbered amount on the county treasurer payable to the Village of Greenhills. And whereas the Village of Greenhills shall use all monies received by it under Section 4504.04 Ohio Revised Code for the purpose for which they are encumbered and returned for deposit in the fund established by Division B1 of Section 4504.05 Ohio Revised Code, any monies not so used. And whereas a joint agreement with the Board of County Commissioners for such improvement shall be authorized and approved. Now, therefore be it resolved by the Village of Greenhills, State of Ohio, Section 1, that it is hereby declared necessary to the best interest of the Village of Greenhills to execute an agreement with the Board of Hamilton County Commissioners in connection with the improvement of Winton Road. Section 2, the municipal manager should be and hereby is authorized and directed to execute the attached agreement for and on behalf of the Village of Greenhills with the Board of Hamilton County Commissioners under terms and conditions listed in the attached agreement, which is deemed to be part of this resolution as if fully set forth herein, and when so approved and executed shall be in full force and effect. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Thanks.
That there were no funds mentioned in
Uh,
that at all.
Pat, you're disrupting the meeting. Take your seat.
And it says it's a.
Pat, you're disrupting the meeting. Take your seat. Officer, she's disrupting the meeting. Take your seat or you'll be removed.
I just answer why. is it-
Remove Ms. Anduan from the meeting, please.
How can you
Okay.
get something that you
All
don't
those
even
in-
recognize how much money it is?
Do you need to adjourn the meeting? Is the disruption to that point?
I'm leaving,
Yep.
but I think it's insane to be adopting something you don't even know how much money you're spending. That's public money.
Okay. We shall continue. We have a second?
I second it.
Okay. All right, any discussion?
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, if you were listening to the resolution, I mean, since I read it, I was kind of into it, but the cost is really relative to what the final cost is going to be. And you mentioned earlier that it was $80,000 from the
yeah.
county, so, and the other funds, I assume, are coming from our streets and roads.
Streets and services,
Right.
yeah.
Different
So-
sources, but
Yeah.
And we won't know what the total cost is until we have
Bid it.
bids.
Right.
All right. All right, clerk, call the roll.
Hermes,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Walther,
Aye.
Dries,
Aye.
Halter,
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2018-21-SNS passes. Okay, next resolution, 2018-22-SNS, resolution authorizing assessments on certain properties in the Village of Greenhills. Mr. Lee.
Mr. Lee, do you want me to help
No,
you? Okay.
I'm on a roll now, so.
Okay.
Resolution 2018-22-SNS, resolution authorizing assessments on certain properties in the village of Greenhills. Whereas the village has given proper notice to the owners of certain real property in the village of Greenhills regarding removal of vegetation, refuge, garbage, and/or debris from properties listed below. And whereas the owners of said properties did not take action to remedy the violations, and therefore the Village of Greenhills contracted to remove vegetation, refuge, garbage, and/or debris, and now seeks to collect said expenses by authorizing the placement of a lien upon the lands and collected as other taxes. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, a majority of which concur, that Section 1, that the Village of Greenhill hereby certifies that the cost of such labor, together with the expenses relative thereto, be filed upon the return and statement to the Hamilton County Commissioners as an assessment against the properties listed and placed as a lien against the properties by the Auditor of Hamilton County, Ohio, as follows. Description. Parcel 597-0040-0053-00, address 39 Flanders Lane, owner Olison Homes LLC, total cost $329.26, for a total of $329.26. Section 2, all amounts collected as a result of this resolution shall be placed in the general fund of the Village of Greenhills. Section 3, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Shouldn't be any discussion or question on this. Clerk, call the roll.
Lee,
Aye.
Walther,
Aye.
Dries,
Aye.
Halter,
Aye.
Hermes,
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2018-22-SNS passes. Calendar.
Laws and Rules, July 23rd, 9 a.m.
Community Development, this Thursday, 6/28, 5:15 p.m.
Bike Rodeo, Saturday, July 21st, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. National Night Out, Tuesday, August 7th at 6 p.m. And our next Safety Committee meeting, Tuesday, August 28th at 5:15 p.m.
September the 12th, a meeting for the Waycross Regional Council of Governments. July the 13th, Cheeseburgers in Paradise at the American Legion. We have the Community Day at the pool this Saturday. Please all come. This is going to be a blast. It's going to be real fun. We also have coming up in October our Harvest Fest, and that would be our first Saturday of the month of October. We also have Rita coming up here for the encounter of those that are receiving letters on September the 11th. And that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Just a quick addition to the pool. Did we call it to people's attention about accepting various credit cards and stuff for the pool now? And when did that start?
It started with the beginning of the season.
Okay.
Fortunately, we were able to have that in place.
Yeah, just a reminder for everybody. That makes it a lot easier for someone to pop over there for the day.
It does, yes.
One other thing, I know about 80 residents received Board of Revision complaints about the valuation of their property. I know several people have received dates to be there the latter part of July, and I just would remind citizens that you do need to show up for that if you've gotten a letter.
And Mayor, the most important thing, next council meeting, I'll be on vacation. So my
okay.
partner Kevin Frank will be here in my place.
Okay.
And what day is that?
That's all I need.
All right. No further business. Meeting's adjourned.